For me, creativity is solving the problem. And I feel like if you think of it in terms of solving problems, and that's what creativity is, then you open it up because you don't want people to think of themselves as being in some kind of bucket. In terms of like in the box or out of the box, there is no box.
Once upon a time, there was a girl named Naomi. Her family was a long line of potion masters.
But every day, when he walked into school, he felt shy, and he felt like he wasn't being seen.
Hasta que una noche de mucho viento, mamá les contó un entrañable cuento que cambiaría por completo el destino de sus sueños, avivando sus sentimientos y animándoles a soñar despiertos.
Because of that, the rainbow cupcake finds a way out of the factory and into the secret tunnel.
Because of that, Bud spent every day hoping he would bloom. He stood in the rain, he played in the sun, but he didn't take time to rest, so he still had no blooms.
Because of that, Maria started to ignore her stuffed animals. Instead, she would only text her friends and never talk to her stuffed animals anymore. And that made her stuffed animals very upset and hurt, and they felt very betrayed.
Find that initial emotional core for that character. Make sure there's something real in there, and then you can make it funny, you can make it scary, you can make it sad, whatever you need to make it. Find something that and then build from there.
For me, this work has been very meaningful. Part of it, though, is what I think of as breakdown, breakthrough. So get ready for some breakdowns. But where there's a breakdown, there's a breakthrough.
Until finally, Welter had to make a choice to either learn his purpose or help save Lily.
And ever since then, Jess was able to dress how she wanted, and her mom let up on all her rules.
In the end, he learns that he shouldn't run away from the world, and that if he wants friends, he should go out and talk to people himself. All thanks to an encounter with a magical book.
The moral of the story is that kindness always has a way of coming back to you.
Storytelling is a powerful and beautiful tool to communicate at its simplest, because we're trying to connect, right? We're trying to connect ideas to people, to the human experience. That's a beautiful thing.
Hello, and welcome to the Story Experiential Celebration and Award Ceremony for the December 2023 exhibition. I'm Dennis Henderson of the X in a Box team, and I'm honored to be your MC for this special event. No matter how far along you got in your story development, from rough draft to polished story reel, you met a series of deadlines to get here. This ceremony is for you, our Story Experiential community, to acknowledge the many hours that all of you put into this program to develop a unique story from a what if idea to your submission to this exhibition. Tonight, we celebrate this milestone and all of the new amazing stories that came about. The X in the Box team and I want to express our appreciation to everyone who makes Story Experiential possible. To our amazing live stream guests who share their incredible industry knowledge and their personal career journeys. To the teachers and administrators for the unwavering guidance provided to your students throughout the program. As an educator myself, I appreciate you. And last, but certainly not least, to you, our participants, who ask engaging questions throughout our live streams, and especially for all of the feedback that you took the time to provide to your peers as they develop their stories at every step. Before we begin revealing who all will be the recipients of the Story Experiential Recognition Awards, which have been determined by your peer votes, I want to remind everyone of the fabulous grand prize, which we will announce at the end of this ceremony. One lucky Best Story Reel winner who received the highest amount of peer votes will win a free seat in Storyboard Arts year-long storyboard mentorship program, a value of $3,500. So stick around to the end of the show for that award. Our first award is Excellence in Feedback, a category that is held in high esteem by the X in a Box team, because anyone can create a story, but developing a great story requires support and feedback from others. Feedback is what helps all of us become better storytellers, and for that reason, it's a crucial part of the program. This award is granted to the top 3 Story Experiential participants in both cohorts, youth and adults, who provided exemplary feedback to their peers for the duration of the program. Okay, drum roll please. The first Excellence in Feedback Award in the youth cohort goes to Ramon. The next Excellence in Feedback Award in the youth cohort goes to Joshua. And the final Excellence in Feedback Award in the youth cohort goes to Sammy. Congratulations, Ramon, Joshua, and Sammy. On to our adult cohort. The first Excellence in Feedback Award in an adult cohort goes to Diego Gomez Garcia Martins. The next Excellence in Feedback Award in an adult cohort goes to Isla Vela. And the final Excellence in Feedback Award in an adult cohort goes to Maria Pia Felipa Ebar. Congratulations, Diego, Isla, and Maria. Thanks to all 6 of our awardees for supporting your peers and fostering an encouraging, experiential community. Now, on to the Best Story Reel Recognition Awards. Again, these awards and awardees were determined by your votes when you scored your peers' final submission on how compelling their story is and their use of visual storytelling, character development, and story structure. Your votes were then tallied to determine the top 3 submissions for Best Story Reel in our youth and adult cohorts. These awardees will receive a reaction to their story reel this evening from my X in a Box colleagues and co-founders, Elise Kleitman and Tony DeRose, who are both Pixar veterans. Welcome, Elise and Tony.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to all of you. What an extraordinary job everyone has done. I'm always so excited to be a part of these exhibitions, but really just to see the incredible talent out there. Your stories are beautiful, funny, touching, and it's just a joy to watch them.
Oh, so much. You know, it's always exciting when we open for submissions for the final exhibition and start to see the submissions come in, and they always blow my socks off. So super exciting to be here. It's only sad that we can recognize just a few because there are so many good ones.
And I love that our peer community is so dedicated to watching the submissions and scoring them. And, you know, that's what really allows us to have these peer recognized awards.
Yep, great job, everybody.
Thank you, Tony and Elise. Here to announce our youth awardees, please welcome Xperiential alumni and another X in a Box colleague, Sky Sonomura.
As someone who's participated in this program, I know that this has been a monumental undertaking for all involved. Major congrats. You have made it. Quite literally, you've made something. And that's awesome. Seeing your work come alive is one of my favorite things ever. It gets me so animated. Is that the word for it? I hope you're all equally animated as I announce the results of the Story Experiential Best Story Reel Award in the youth cohort as determined by your peers. This way! Whoa! An empty canvas. Oh, it's bursting with possibilities. I feel it calling to me. I think there's a word for that even. Perhaps it'll become clear with a little application. Our first Best Story Reel Award in the youth cohort, Oliver's Destiny by Amalia.
Once upon a time, in the big city of New York, there was a small studio in the middle of a bustling street. In this studio, there was a young boy named Oliver, who lived with his cat named Millie. Every morning they would go down to the studio to paint. They would do everything together, but most of the time they would just paint with each other. This was until one day Millie didn't join him. She was alive for Oliver's whole life, so it was time for her to go. Because of this, he loses interest in painting. What was once him painting every day soon became him never stepping foot in the studio. Because of this, he begins to isolate himself. He never goes outside anymore, and he loses contact with the outside world. Because of this, he doesn't know what to live for anymore. Millie was everything to him, as was painting. So, when both things left his life, he didn't know what to do. Until finally, someone else makes an appearance in his life. Through an open window, a stray cat jumps through. When Oliver met this cat, his soul came rushing back. He named her Karma, because he believes she is the reincarnation of Millie. Ever since then, he found his sense of worth. He has accomplished his life dream of becoming a famous artist. And with the help of Karma, his paintings are in many museums. Karma has shown him that sometimes you have to wait for the right person to come along, and that there's always rain before the rainbow. So, hang in there. It'll all be okay.
I'm really happy to get to talk about Oliver's Destiny. Amalia's team. These are beautiful, clear, simple images. And one of the things I love and want to highlight is that you can tell an extraordinary story and have great imagery, but it can be simple. This story has wonderful use of shape and color. I always knew where I needed to be looking for the most important part of the story. This story has a theme of loneliness, which is such an important one and such a universal one. And I love the hopeful message. I love the way we go through a journey with the main character of where they come from, where their conflict and their sadness is, and then how they can kind of come back out of it. There's such a clear outline. And one of the things that I love is that this is a simple, clear, short story. And I think it actually has room for development and for more detail. It doesn't need it, but there were things that I was curious about. Like, I want to know more about where the new cat came from. What's the cat's story? Do they need each other? How then did Oliver become famous? Did it take a long time? Did it happen quickly? Did it have to do with meeting Karma? How did Karma contribute to their growth as an artist? So while this was a really great, complete story, I'm also left curious and wanting more. Great work.
Yeah, I had scribbled many of the same points. You know, this is a 90-second short, and to tell as much of the story as possible in 90 seconds, as was done in this, is just phenomenal. And I think a lot of the reason that worked is, you know, you can be the greatest artist in the world, but you have to pick the imagery that's really going to support your story points. And and that was done beautifully here. And I'll just pull out two that come to mind. One is, there was a line about losing touch with the outside world. Well, how do you depict that? You know, even if you're the greatest artist. And she picked it by, you know, showing a phone screen with missed calls. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's such a powerful image to go with that hard to express idea. There was also a New York Times headline that similarly just, you know, completely drove home the story point. To talk about the theme, Elise, you're right. You know that this idea of, you know, connection and loss of connection has never been more important, right? As we're all sitting looking at our screens and, you know, post-pandemic, and this story was so uplifting. If you think about the emotional arc of the story, it was sort of a textbook perfect arc of ups and downs. You mentioned the drawings, and they're definitely clear, but the design of the drawings again is what I was trying to get at. They're just really beautiful. And the narration I thought was very really powerful and emotional. So sometimes it can sound like you're reading a script, and that didn't happen at all here. So, congratulations, Amalia. Really great work.
This paintbrush right here is magic. Don't believe me? All I have to do is use the following spell on my mouth, and it shall reveal the next youth awardee. Xperientialis Victorium! I mean, I hoped it would work. Hope is the real magic word. Our next award for Best Story Reel in the youth cohort goes to Jaden and Hope by Anna.
Hello, Miss Willow. How can I help you today? Hello, dearie. Lovely to see you again. Congratulations on opening your shop. I just came by looking for some cookbooks. Could you help me find some? Cookbooks, you say? Coming right up. Oh, never mind that. I'll just take you straight to them. I see you still struggle with your magic, huh, dearie? Unfortunately, yes. Sometimes it works, most times it doesn't. What the? What? Who are you? Where am I? Answer my question first. Hey, stay right there. I told you to stay right there. Very well. My name is Jaden. Now, I need you to tell me where I am and how long ago the war was. Magic isn't completely good, but it isn't completely evil either. You can still make this world a better place, though, with or without magic, and definitely without starting a war. So I give you this offer, and as corny as it may sound, will you help me make this world a better place?
The premise of this story was really novel. The idea of an ancient magician who becomes cursed and then comes back and still reconnects with his humanity. It's a really great what if, and you've done a lot to embellish that into the full story. I'll just say a word about the art. I imagine that Elise has more to say about it, but the use of line was really well done, and the character designs were also, showed a real mastery of the use of shapes in character depiction. On the a few of the aspects of the story, one of the things that really pulled me in was the poetry behind the spell that she uses to unlock the statue. It was a really beautifully crafted bit of wordsmithing there. I also thought this was a really great idea of, we talk about major beats from the story spine and then minor beats that fill them in. And the minor beats here were very strong. They filled in a lot of detail in between the major beats. And sometimes that's really difficult to do. And finally, I enjoyed the fact that it was really unpredictable. I didn't know where the story was going. I was really invested to find out. And I'm happy that you found kind of an uplifting ending to the story, because it could have gone a lot of different directions.
Yeah, I'll start with the artwork. The line, like Tony said, was really beautiful and clear. For me, one of the things I loved about the line is just the flow and movement. And some of the sketches are more developed than others, but you always had a sense of movement. In particular, I really love the shape of her hat. And as you see throughout the story, how the shape of that hat changes and shifts with her movement. I want to talk about the story, because it really, I think, is a pretty deep story. And I love how right away we're introduced to the fact that it's a story about magic, and there's this statue. Something's going to happen with this statue and a spell. And what I think for me was so deep, I guess, was the backstory of the statue character. We see him right away, and he's angry, he's despondent, he has a lack of hope. And intriguingly, he meets the main character whose name is Hope, which I loved. And this duality of the magic, the beauty and the horror, the potential of doing both good and evil. There was a line at one point where he says, as we're discovering his story and the story of his brother and the story of how magic brought real sadness to his life, he said, history erased that part of the story. And I think, as we are in a world where we're reading headlines and we're skimming through bits and pieces of information that gets thrown at us in media, so much of the story and the history is often lost. And so that really touched me. When I think about places for growth in this story, there was a lot of exposition. There was a lot of talking and telling the story. And I think there were some places where you could think about, could I cut these words and what could I show in a picture? The only other thing that confused me a little bit sometimes, and I could see taking a look at, is the voices sometimes sounded similar. And so then I'd have to, this was more towards the middle and the end, sort of stop and say, wait, who was saying that line? But other than those two things, I thought this was really powerful and beautiful, and bravo.
Don't mind me. I'm just studying some experiential experience spells for the award ceremony. How's about these for magic words? Once upon a time. Huh? Huh? Fittingly, the main character of the following story is a storybook. The final Best Story Reel award in the youth cohort goes to My Project by Samantha.
Samantha, I really enjoyed this book coming to life, and a love story, perhaps, an unrequited love story, perhaps, between a book and fire, who should definitely not be together, or at least that's what it seems like. I love the long history and animation of when inanimate objects become animate or animated. And this story had wonderful, simple drawings. We knew right away the main character was this book trying to get attention from the shelves with just the littlest movement and with just the smallest things that drew our attention to the book. I was curious about how and why there might be a fire in a library. Is it a library or a bookstore? I wasn't sure about that. I thought that the sound effects and the music were a really important part of this story and really moved it forward. It had a wonderful pace, and the music was really connected to that. I'd love to have seen a little bit more of an understanding of why was the book drawn to the fire. I love the little hearts and the little intrigue, but what was it? Maybe the fire could come alive a tiny bit more. I was a little confused by what was going on at the ending, and so Tony, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. But again, super clear, wonderful pacing, great simple drawings, really fun story.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused about the ending. I had to think about it a little bit, but ultimately where I came to was that this was a story about kind of perseverance and rebirth, that the book character and the fire, I thought, really did have an affection for each other, but it was almost like high school where you've got the good guy and the bad girl, and they really shouldn't be together at all, and that kind of struck a chord with me there. But then the book kind of recovers and makes themselves available to this human to take them home. So that felt to me like rebirth. If Samantha, if you had something else in mind, I don't think it would take too much work to add a little bit of detail to change the ending in the direction that you wanted users to come away with, or viewers to come away with. I too thought the music and the sound really added to the story. And just as an example, it can be sometimes hard to depict fire in drawings, but that little crackling sound that was going on in the soundtrack really sold the fact. So it removed any confusion that might have been there. And I thought the shot choice and the staging of the imagery was really well done. I mean, that goes to your point, Elise, about kind of always knowing where to look and what the action was. And I think that was in large part because of how the visuals were framed. Was it an up shot from down low? Was it from the perspective of the book? Was it from the perspective of the fire? So I never felt like I got lost in that part of the execution. So really fun. Thank you, Samantha.
Here to announce our adult awardees. Please welcome Xperiential alumni and X in the Box colleague, Lauren Britz.
Who's here to party? What? This isn't a Christmas party? Right. Oh. The Story Experiential Awards. Right, yes. Apologies, everyone. I'm excited to be here to announce the Story Experiential Best Story Reel Awards in the adult cohort, as determined by your peers. The first Best Story Reel in the adult cohort goes to Fetty the Confetti by Charlene Smith.
Once upon a time, there was a piece of confetti who lived in a party store. Every day, she hoped she would be chosen and finally experience the big pop. But unfortunately, she watched through her clear home as other confetti cannons were chosen over her, again and again. Until one day, a young woman grabbed Fetty's cannon and brought her home for her 30th birthday party. Fetty was set on top of the mantle as the woman set up decorations for her big day. Because of that, Fetty could see everything, including the party when it began. She so badly wanted to be part of the big day, and she really just couldn't wait for the big pop. Just as the woman was getting ready to blow out her candles, Fetty started jumping up and down. She got too excited and pushed onto the walls of the cannon, which caused it to tumble to the ground.
I first want to note that Shailene is a returning participant in the Story Experiential. She previously received a feedback award. So this is her second award. Great work, Shailene. And this is for something other than feedback. This is for Best Story Reel. First thing is, I just smiled the entire way through this film. It's just so playful. And I love your tagline in your description. It's a piece of confetti realizes there's more to life than the big moments. And that just completely captures what you've done here. It's relatable to the nth degree. It's, expectations, we all have them, and sometimes they're up and sometimes they're down, and sometimes they're greatly exceeded as in this story. I think it's really interesting to focus a story on something as seemingly inconsequential as a piece of confetti. But then I got to thinking, and just getting kind of philosophical for a second, we as humans aren't that much more consequential in the scheme of the universe. I mean, we're just little bags of molecules on a little planet in a little solar system in a little galaxy somewhere in the universe. So the confetti is every bit as important as we are. Just super inventive. Fantastic work. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree 100% about the smiling from beginning to end. I mean, just seeing the imagery, I love the use of color and how you've used grays and then just these really magical, bright confetti colors. And I love the idea of, the confetti as a symbol, this idea of the moment, the big explosion, that's what it's all about. And just, yeah, like you said, Tony, I mean, we're all waiting for those moments, but those moments we often realize are the little moments. And I didn't see coming the fact that the birthday person, the birthday girl, and the piece of confetti were going to have the same issue, the same sadness, and the way that came together and they found each other was so satisfying. It was just so satisfying, and it's such a universal theme. And yeah, for me there wasn't a wrong note. It flowed. I don't have anything I would change about it. It was just thoroughly delightful.
The next award for Best Story Reel in the adult cohort goes to Spud, the Great Potato Adventure by Ainsley McMaster.
All right. So first of all, how could you not be delighted by a story that's called Spud, the Great Potato Adventure? This great adventure of the Spud is beautifully drawn, incredibly cinematic, totally perfect in terms of directing the viewer's eye. It's such an original approach to such a universal theme, right? We all want to find our place. We all want to succeed. We all are striving to get there. I loved early on the sense of atmosphere. I knew right away where this was taking place. It was small town, it was rural. I felt that right away. And then there's this sense of drama that happens quite early on as well, the like adventure. This is an adventure of this potato leading themselves to their destiny. There's a sense of drama with the music, with the movement, great sound effects again. And one of the scenes that I was so impressed by was kind of the terrifying view of the kitchen when the spud is sitting up there in the window, and like there's grating and there's chopping and there's mashing, and that paired with the happy ending, which also could seem like, oh, things aren't going so well. This potato's really not getting to the place they wanted to get to, and they're going to be buried. And then life comes. And it's such a great adventure and twists and turns, and you can completely relate to this potato.
Yeah, this is the first time I've related to a potato, but I certainly did. We talk about wants versus needs and a character arc, being a real driving force behind stories. And this film could be the poster child for the wants versus needs topic. Starts out, wanting to be famous and on the cover of, or on the billboards and on TV, and then realizes maybe that life isn't for me, and then discovers what they need. They need to, be part of the, growing the next generation. What could be more perfect than that? And it's clear how they got from one place to the other. So very, very well done. Like you, Elise, I thought the world building was done incredibly well. The staging, the shot choice again, the composition was done very well. And, sound always adds so much. And, just two little moments that I thought were beautiful there was Spud falls off, off the truck and, is sitting in the middle of the desert, the middle of the road. How do you convey that loneliness? And it's an almost silent scene, except for a little fly buzzing by. And, it's just, it just says so much without saying anything. There's another scene in the grocery store, and you hear this little subtle, register, beeping as the items get scanned. And again, just another really subtle but effective way to sell the sense of place, where you are and what that situation is about. So I don't think I had anything else. Oh yeah. One other detail was, the newspaper early on unfolds, and they talk about tater heaven. So you've clearly, as a storyteller, thought a lot about what this world would be, and the backstory of not just the potato, but of basically everything in the environment. Really, really nice work.
The final best story reel in the adult cohort goes to The Legend of Koi by Thomas Chevalier.
He's here!
Stop! Don't follow him. It's dangerous over there. Dragon lives here.
Oh, this was such an exciting film. As I was watching it and taking notes, I found myself just scribbling single words, like with a lot of exclamation points. So the score, exclamation point, sound, exclamation point, cinematography, exclamation point, character design, exclamation point, epic, exclamation point. It was, it just ticks so many boxes. It's a big, powerful story with, mythic themes and mythic characters. The character design, as I mentioned, is just so engaging and so well done. The one place I got confused was at the end, where the warrior character kind of disappears and then the dragon flies off. I think what was being conveyed there is a sense of reincarnation as the dragon, and that was the legend. So I hope I got that right. And if so, it was I was really moved. I was totally glued to the story from the opening frame.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It was so exciting and dynamic and straight from the beginning. And just the first shots in the beginning where we are looking through the center and then we are going, and then we go straight into the warrior. I mean, I could just tell right away, this is so cinematic, beautifully drawn. I mean, just gorgeous storyboards, great continuity. Again, the eye always knowing where to look. And in something as dramatic as this, that's really important because you need an anchor. When there's music and there's movement and there's so much going on, we want to make sure that we're not getting lost, and we didn't get lost at all. Again, the music, I'm going to just say it again, it was so perfect for the tone and the adventure. And then this was also really emotional. This wasn't just, let's just go on an adventure. There was something very soulful and deep in it, and if indeed it is a story of reincarnation and rebirth, that makes complete sense. I was lost in the same place, Tony, and I want to make sure that that's clarified, and that's really the only piece of feedback I have. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm blown away by the incredible work out there. As Tony said, I wish we got to do this, have these conversations and go in depth about every single one of them. And everyone is awarded for their real care and time and effort that gets put into storytelling, which it's just such a critical part of who we are as human beings. It makes the world a better place. It adds joy and empathy and learning. And I'm just so thankful for all of you for sharing your stories.
Right. So many of these are just beautifully crafted. If they were a piece of furniture or an instrument, you could walk up and tangibly feel that detail, but it really comes through in the final products.
Well done, Shailene, Ainsley, and Thomas, for being recognized by your peers as excellent storytellers. And remember, keep telling stories.
Thank you, Lauren. And here to announce our final category, also determined by peer votes, the Story Experiential Special Recognition Award. Please welcome my X in the Box colleague, Lexi Hoyt.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here, and I have the great honor of announcing the Story Experiential Special Recognition Award for these top peer-voted submissions. Our Special Recognition Award in the youth cohort goes to Schrodinger's Curse by Jonathan.
Once upon a time, there was a young man named Schrodinger who lived peacefully in the city. Schrodinger owned a shop where he'd make masks. He loved creating all sorts of masks for every new face he'd meet. One day, he falls in love with a girl named Victoria. Years later, they are engaged. He would often take long walks in the garden and look at the night sky, because he believed that his parents are watching over him in the stars. He would excitedly tell them about the great news. Suddenly, Schrodinger was attacked by a shadowy figure holding a knife while he was distracted. He is left for dead in the garden. Schroeder would not be allowed to rest until the shadow in the night was found. He would make a mask, reflecting the pain he now bears, and seek vengeance. The knife used to kill him showed him small visions of his murderer, but blinds him with an evil intention.
Our next special recognition award, also in the youth cohort, goes to A Wasteful Dream by Jacob.
In an abandoned factory, there lived many creatures that are called the Waste. But for this story, there are two of them that will have a tale that they'll never forget, called V and Tim. V always looked around the scrapyard for anything to make her more appealing, while Tim just sat around, listening to V rambling like usual. Till one day, V found a very old book. The book was very broken, but it was very easy to read for the most part. It had pictures after all. The book is about a girl who was turned into a monster and found a flower that turned her into a human girl. V was so enthralled in the story that she rushed back into the factory to keep reading more, while Tim just sat around just waiting for V to return. Walking into the factory, she walked past the mirror that she's always walked past by every single day, but today she saw something. When she walked back to the mirror, she just saw only her own reflection. But then she started dreaming. She started dreaming big, dreaming of herself as a human girl.
And now in the adult cohort, the final special recognition award goes to John's Phobia by Violette Hono.
Not now, Fifi. I have so much to do today. It's already lunchtime? I won't eat today. John! I already told you to knock before entering. I didn't see you the whole day and your cat is getting hungry. Well, you know how to feed her, so I don't see the problem. By the way, the basement is dirty. I would like you to clean it. Huh? Are you kidding me? I won't do this. It's not my job. Remember that you should be here for me a little bit. Remember that I generously agreed that you live here without paying thanks to your father. After you finish it, I promise we will do anything you want, like going to the mall, seeing a movie, or I don't know what. Fine. I'll do it.
Congratulations to Jonathan, Jacob, and Violette for your distinguished recognition and wonderful stories. Well done.
Thank you, Lexi. But before we get out of here, we have one more special announcement. The grand finale. Joining us again to reveal the winner of the incredible grand prize. Welcome back, Sky.
Time to announce the recipient of the grand prize, a free seat in Storyboard Art's year-long Story Artist Mentorship Program, granted to one lucky Story Experiential Best Story Reel awardee. This award was also determined by highest peer votes, so whoever gets this, lots of your fellow participants liked you. They really, really liked you. I've actually been practicing a more advanced spell for the occasion. Let's see how I do. Blind Veranda Open Source, who's the grand prize winner of this experiential course?
Oliver's Destiny. By Amalia.
The most heartfelt of congratulations, Amalia, from the X in a Box and Storyboard Art teams. We're excited to see all the stories you're going to tell in the future. And the same goes for all of you watching. Keep telling your stories. I think you know by now that you'll be glad you did.
Thank you, Elise, Tony, Sky, Lauren, and Lexi for joining me this evening. Congratulations to everyone who participated in this exhibition. Give yourselves a nice big round of applause for creating original story reels that you get to add to your portfolio. You own your story reel created during this program. As a reminder, you will continue to have access to this platform to learn from professionals and peers for an entire year from the date of your registration. For those of you that submitted to the exhibition, you will receive a Story Experiential Certificate of Completion, which you can download from your dashboard, and your very own dedicated exhibition page, which you will have forever. Show off your work, share it with family, share it with friends, include it in your university application, internships, or job applications. If you so choose, you can even submit it to a film festival. The exhibition pages are open to the public, so share your work. And tag us when you do so we can celebrate with you. This show is being recorded and will be posted to the exhibition page for you to share. Thanks for a wonderful celebration, and I hope that you will join us again. That's a wrap.